Hello YouTube, my name is Phil and I have some Blacklight Retribution gameplay for you from the PlayStation 4 today. Now what I want to talk to you about today in this commentary is Fanboys. And when I talk about Fanboys, obviously I'm referring to it from a gaming perspective because this is a gaming channel, as you can tell by the computer game going on in the background. Now, Fanboys. Fanboys is a funny one, isn't it? Because it's very much used as a derogatory insult against people, whether they play on console or PC or Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo or what have you. And it's used as an insult because it means that someone is being blinkered and they are blind to the other sort of ideas around them. And it works around with games as well, so people are COD fanboys or they're Battlefield fanboys, and you're not allowed to enjoy both games because obviously that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? Why would you enjoy more than one type of game at a time? Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah. So Fanboys, it's an overall, personally, obviously it's a relatively blinkered way of looking at things, and it's used as an insult very often in the comment sections of YouTube videos when people say, I like COD, I like Battlefield, what have you, and then other people come in and go, you fucking fanboy, you idiot, and so on. So what I want to talk to you about today is what I think of Fanboys, kind of a history of it, and why I am like a massive fanboy of lots of different things. And I don't think it should be an insult. I think it's something that should be celebrated, and it shows our passion, which ultimately is a great thing in life going forward. If you don't have passion for a project or a thing or an idea, then kind of where are you as a human being? So it's kind of something that I want to talk to you about. It kind of came out of an insult, and I've thought about it all day at work, and I've driven home tonight, and it's something that I want to kind of talk. I want to bring out and usually this is like therapy for me sometimes. So okay, so Fanboys. Now it's very much as I say. It's kind of it's a thing. So if somebody is a fanboy, if they're accused of being a fanboy, it means that they're blinkered and they only look at one particular game or one particular console or platform or what have you, and that's all that they can kind of focus on. That's the idea around it. They can't hear bad things about it. They won't deal with that properly. They can't. Their minds can't process it, and their minds and their imagination is not open to new ideas. So they can't, someone's a Call of Duty fanboy, for example, they can't then appreciate the splendour and scope of Battlefield, and vice versa. If someone is a Battlefield fanboy, they can't appreciate the close combat and what have you of COD. And that's fine. Okay, that is fine, but I do think, as I say, that the fanboy word is kind of misused. Now, sort of going back for years, I got my first Nintendo Entertainment System in 1986. Okay, and before that, I was playing video games on a ZX Spectrum. Now, if anyone remembers those, they had 48K and rubber keys. They were a beast of a system, but you could program on them, and you loaded games up with tapes and all sorts. It was an awful lot of fun and very kind of, we didn't know any different at the time, obviously. So yeah, but even then, right? So with the Spectrum, it wasn't the only gaming platform available. There were also things like Commodore 64s, Atari STs, and so on, and BBC Micros, which were, shit. But yeah, I mean, like everyone agreed that they were fucking terrible, even people that owned them. But yeah, so there was always kind of a very much an idea that whatever system you used was the best. It might have the best graphics, it might have the best gameplay, it might have the best processor, or what have you. And then it kind of developed on. So the Nintendo Entertainment System, as I say, got it in 1986. And, you had people that had Nintendos and they hated everyone with Master Systems, which was the Sega equivalent. If you weren't around then, didn't know about that, but yeah. So, and then the Sega people hated it back. And then it went to the Super Nintendo, which I got, Super Nintendo, I think I got that when I was about, years ago, I was about 12. So, it was 91 or so. It may have come out later than that. But anyway, irrespective of the day, I got a Super Nintendo, and at the time there was a big 16-bit war going on with the Sega Mega Drive. I think it's called the Sega Genesis in the States. So if you remember that was bloodthirsty. That was, Nintendo and Sega do and Nintendo don't and all of this. It was very kind of, bloodthirsty. It was horrible. And, people that had a Mega Drive or a Genesis, what have you, they liked the way it was very smooth and stuff. But actually the Super Nintendo had more scope to it. It's just the processor wasn't powerful enough. And anyway, yeah, and there was all sorts of stuff that went on with that. It was very, very kind of bizarre and fun and strange and weird. And, anyway, so the point is, YouTube, as I'm sort of getting back to my point, is that fanboyism is not a new thing. This has been going on for, it's like 30 years ago, which is crazy and makes me feel ever so old. And if any of you were around at the time, you'll remember what it was all like, So if you had a Nintendo Entertainment System, you just didn't, you didn't game with people that had a Sega Master System, because why would you? Because your games were better. You had Mario and Zelda and what have you, and they had whatever they had. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't speak to those fucking scrubs. Anyway, obviously, only kidding. So yes, going back to my point, it's nothing new. This whole sort of Xbox or PlayStation or PC or, you know, next gen or old gen or what have you, it's nothing new. This the aggravation and the comments that you get in the flame wars on YouTube comment sections on Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of it, it's nothing new. It's just different mediums that allow us to communicate with each other in a slightly kind of different and more intriguing and immediate way. If that makes sense to you. And I don't want to sort of sound patronising or anything, but it is. It's ridiculous, and it makes me laugh because, you know, I'm not particularly bothered what game you play on. I don't have a PC, right? I don't like them. I don't like Windows. I think it's shit, right? But like, all power to you if you use it. If you like that, that's fantastic, and I'm genuinely impressed for you and that you can manage to make Windows 8 work for you, because, as I say, I think it's bloody awful. But being a fanboy is not a bad thing. It doesn't make you sort of thick or irrelevant or stupid or immature or anything like that, because ultimately we're all fanboys in our own particular way. Personally, Nintendo for me, love Nintendos. Nintendos are the thing, right? So if Nintendo still made a relevant and useful console, then I would have that. I wouldn't have my PlayStation 4 because I would still want to be playing Zelda, and I would want to be playing whatever the next Mario was, and so on and so forth. My last Nintendo that I owned, before obviously the Wii came out, because that's not for me, was the GameCube, and I loved it, and I've still got my GameCube. It's up in the loft. I don't get it out very often because I like the online multiplayer stuff, but yeah, Nintendo is kind of very much a thing for me, and I do like my Apple products as well. And, you know, if you dislike them, that's fine. I don't care. I'm big enough and old enough to not give a shit about other people's opinions. I'm kind of secure enough in my own convictions, and I think you should be too, YouTube. If you get accused of being a fanboy or something, then I think you should actually hold your hand up, punch your fist in the air and say, yes, I fucking am, because I love whatever, Sony, I love Nvidia, I love AMD, I love my Nintendo Wii U, although if you do say that, my God, you would be the only person around that still does. Anyway, YouTube, that was kind of my thoughts. It was just a little bit of a spiel and a bit of a rant on fanboys, because I realised I haven't uploaded a video for a week or so, and I thought I would kind of speak to you guys. Anyway, YouTube, thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please don't hesitate to hit like, subscribe if you're new, click the link in the middle for the previous video. Take care, good night, good afternoon, and good day.